Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County.
Counseling, dental, and primary care with discount prescriptions from our pharmacy. Learn more at tcchelp.org. Chautauqua Center, our family caring for your family.
From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. Justin tells me this is show 288. How is that possible? Well, Happy New Year. Here we are in 2020. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of jokes about 2020 vision. I'm not going to do any. Maybe I just did. I'm not sure. Anyways, you still. Anyways, good morning to all our viewers in the Chautauqua region, and good morning to those of you that are watching us live streaming through Facebook. I want to say good morning, world. Anybody in the world could be watching us right now. And as in the past, we do encourage you to leave a little message. Let us know where you're viewing from. It's just way cool. We're going to put a world map up here soon, and if you leave us a note and let us know where you're watching us from, we're going to put a stick pin on the map. Okay? For those of you that are watching live right now, remember you can always give us a call at 753-5225, and let me give you the area code for those that are watching or streaming that might not be in our calling area, 716-753-5225. Okay? And also I want to say good afternoon to all the listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. Thanks for joining us Tuesdays at 1 o'clock right here at the station. We're glad that you could join us in Jamestown. And so we have a really interesting show in store for you today, something we've never done before. Seriously, we've done music, but this is going to be music in a whole different way. All right, so stay tuned. All right, the weather is very interesting lately. As you all know, we've got warm weather. It's been raining, which at my house means one thing and only one thing: muddy paws. I'm trying to teach Brody, after he's been running around outside, to sit by the door so I can wipe off his paws one at a time. He thinks it's a time for a wrestling match. Think of it, about 30-pound dog wrestling with me with a towel. We're getting there, though. All right. Also, want to point out to you and thank our two new underwriters. They're the folks that are in the beginning of the opening credits and announcements and so forth. The Chautauqua IDA, Industrial Development Agency, is one of our new sponsors. Thank you very much. And the Chautauqua Center, who had their own jingle. How cool is that? So thank you, Chautauqua Center, for sponsoring us as well. So we've got some great underwriters that support the show here, and obviously they think what we're doing is important, and I hope that you do as well. And remember, the mission of Chautauqua Sunrise is pretty simple. It's just to talk about the cool things in Chautauqua region and the surrounding area and share it with you. We're the only live show that I'm aware of in all of Chautauqua County. So we're happy to be here, and we have a great year ahead of us and lots of programs already scheduled. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to talk to you about? I think that's pretty much it at this point. I do want to share some announcements, and let me tell you this much. I say this every week, and most of you help out. If you have an announcement and you want to call in live, you can do that. I gave you the number, 753-5225. Don't be shy, and if you are shy, Randy usually answers the phone. He'll write down the message, and he'll get it to me throughout the show. If you want to talk to me live, it's real simple. Somehow, through the power of technology, they put you through the system. I can hear you through my earpiece and through a speaker here, and you can hear me, and we talk, and you tell me about your fundraiser. You tell me about an anniversary, a special project that's coming up, and we're happy to do that, no charge. For those of you that are interested in sending me announcements, you can send it to our Facebook page or through our email address that's posted from time to time, or you can just go to Access Chautauqua. Okay, there it is right there. Or Access Chautauqua has their own website, and we get messages that way as well. So right now I want to read what I do have. Not too many for today, but enough that are important. So we're going to start out with slide 15, Jeff. Here we go. Sip. You know, I made him a promise for New Year's that I wasn't going to goof up any of my announcements, and I goofed it up right off the bat. Well, there goes that resolution. Sip and paint. At my house, it's slip. Winter Visitors is Cardinals in the Snow is a theme. It's going to be held Saturday, January 11th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Great Discovery Center on West Main Road in Westfield. This is one of those where you get together and they have a 16 by 20 inch board for you to work with, and they give you the paints, and they lead you through the various steps of the painting, and it's something you take home and have a great time with your friends. Complimentary glass of wine is included, $40. If you're interested, give me a call at 969-4859 at the Great Discovery Center. And that, of course, the proceeds to that help support that great venue for our area. Okay, here we go. Rolling Hills Radio, episode 94. This is a long one. I'm going to do the best I can. Rolling Hills Radio will present alt country musician Sean Patrick McGraw and Uncle Ben's Remedy for episode 94, coming up on January 13th at 2020. About Sean Patrick McGraw. Sean might be described as something like Lyle Lovett singing Springsteen songs while wearing Dwight Yoakam's hat. That looks about right. As a Nashville songwriter, he has earned respect among his peers. His song Fiona won top honors at the 2007 Independent Music Awards, first place at the American Songwriting Competition at Mountain Stage's new Song Festival, as well as being named finalist in the International Songwriting Competition and the Mid-Atlantic Song Competition. Wow. An esteemed Music Row critic, columnist hailed Fiona as the classiest country rocker I've heard all year. McGraw tours extensively, including as an opener for Toby Keith, among others. Wow. We explore every aspect of Americana music, and Sean has a genuine respect and feel for alt country, a crucial subgenre, according to Rolling Hills radio host Ken Hardley. He is indeed living the life of an Americana artist, which isn't easy. And that's true. Most musicians I know would say the same thing. And then Uncle Ben's Remedy. The sound of Uncle Ben's Remedy is rooted in the small towns of Western New York, where community still matters and music is part of every event. And I can attest that. You go to farmers markets, art festivals, whatever, weekend concerts, out in the gazebos in the middle of towns. This is America at its best. These boys learn to play and sing in the small town atmosphere, giving their music the honest back porch feel of the country music they love. Uncle Ben's Remedy includes Ben Westland, Harmony Griffin, Sean Hustis, Brendan O'Connor, and Jimmy Royce, playing all sorts of traditional and rock and roll instruments and stomping the floors, all while singing their hearts out in service to the song. They are rapidly gaining a reputation as a force to be noticed with their high-energy performances full of humor, delivered in well-constructed songs. This is what Harley has to say. This is not the first time our show has had an upcoming musical entity take the stage. While they seem to be turning heads wherever they go, I'm not going to be surprised if these guys continue to surpass the expectations they had entering the lion's den of touring bands. Okay, all Rolling Hills Radio regular season shows take place at Shawbucks down in Jamestown, across from the ice arena. Doors are open at 5:30. Rolling Hills Happy Hour takes place from 5:30 to 6:15, which food and drink are available. Then they shut everything down, the lights come down, and then they start a video recording at 6:30. The bar reopens for 10 minutes at intermission, and then again afterwards. They have their famous meet and greet, which is a great opportunity to meet Sean or Uncle Ben's Remedy in person. I'm sure they have CDs for sale as well. If you're interested in going, you can contact them at the Rolling Ticket Hotline at 716-294-0416, or you can go to rollinghillsradio.org/tickets. Tickets are only $15, and to see and hear quality music at $15 is a steal these days. So check it out. Been there, lots of fun, good place to visit at Shawbucks. Okay, doors open Jamestown January 18th. Okay, this is an important one for everybody. You know, we got these dreary days of winter, and you think, what should I do? This is a great day because all these different venues that I'm going to read here in a minute are going to be free. So have a listen. Come on to Doors Open Jamestown on January 18th. It's a free day of local attractions and designed to welcome area residents to visit amazing places right here in our own backyard. Designed to invite area residents to visit and learn about local museums, galleries, and assets we have right here in our community. Doors Open Jamestown features something for everyone, whether you're interested in history, comedy, nature, or art. Most attractions will be open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. with free admission. Hours may vary at some locations. In addition, dozens of local restaurants and retail shops will be open for your shopping and dining pleasure on that day. The list of participating attractions so far includes, here we go, these are all going to be free: Audubon Community Nature Center, Bust-Eye Grist Mill, Chautauqua Harbor Hotel, Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, Children's Activity Corner, the Dar House, DAR, Fenton History Center, Jamestown Prendergast Library, Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz Museum, the Martz Cole Observatory, the National Comedy Center, but you got to get your tickets early on that. It requires pre-registration. The Marvin Community House, the Reginald Ace Theater for the Arts, Robert Jackson Center, Roger Torrey Peterson Institute, and additional sites will be coming up as well. All right, I hear somebody on the line. Do we have a caller?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you, Doc?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. This is Karen Cockrum calling.
Hi, Karen Cockrum.
Yeah, I had an announcement.
Okay.
It's just to let people know that Lakeshore Center for the Arts, which is at 49 South Porter Street in Westfield, is open every Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m., and that we have our guest artist, Gabrielle Knappenberger, whose show has been up since November, will be up through the end of January. So if people haven't had a chance to see her phenomenal work through the last Saturday of January, it will still be there. Her show is called Worthy, and it's a wonderful display of portraits of some of her friends.
I've seen them. They're beautiful.
Yeah, so she'll be up through then, and somebody will be at Lakeshore Center for the Arts from 1 to 4 every Saturday.
Karen, is there a cost?
There is not a cost.
So another free opportunity to see great work in our community.
There are also 2 photo shows, and one of them is all shows of Westfield. So if people are interested in seeing photography of Westfield, that is also there.
Okay, and again, where's the location?
It is 49 South Portage Street, which is the 3rd floor of the Presbyterian Church.
And they would enter on the side?
Yeah, on the side.
Okay, and that's from 1 to 4, right?
Correct.
All right, well, thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Okay. See, folks, how easy that was? Free of charge? Happy to do it. Okay, let's see here. Let's go on to, this is important. Let's help Fredonia win the small business revolution. This has been going on up there in Fredonia, and so happy for them. So let's see what it has to say here. There's still a lot of work to do to help Fredonia win the small business revolution. To pull this off, we need everybody's help. Supporting Fredonia is supporting all of Chautauqua County and Western New York. As we all know, we all rise together. As one rises, we all rise. The way to help Fredonia is through continued use of social media. This is from the Chamber of Commerce. We encourage everyone to keep posting video, photos, stories, and messages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and more, and use the hashtag MyFredonia in your posts and comments. You can qualify for a contest that includes over $1,000 in prize giveaways by going to votemyfredonia.com. That's all one word, votemyfredonia.com, and signing up for email and text reminders. Once the top 5 is announced on January 14th at 8 a.m., fingers crossed, Fredonia is part of the top 5. Voting begins, and you can continue to enter additional chances to win the contest by voting daily on all your devices through January 21st at 11 p.m. All are invited to the Opera House once again on January 14th, starting at 7:30. Help them fill the Opera House at the Top 5 Small Business Revolution Reveal Rally. Oh, that's a mouthful. Let me say it again. Small Business Revolution Reveal Rally. A Facebook live event will be featured at this rally where the Small Business Revolution will reveal the top 5 communities. Remember, Fredonia's in the top 10 right now. Then a week-long effort of driving online voting will begin. We'll be talking about that more here. Small Business Revolution, a production of Deluxe, provides the winning community $500,000. That's $500,000 in business revitalization funds and a platform to showcase the transformation of on the TV show, which is hosted by Amanda Brinkman and Ty Pennington and aired on Hulu and Amazon Prime. How cool is that? Ever since the top 10 list was released, Fredonia in all of Chautauqua County have rallied around this opportunity. We must maintain the momentum, and we need your help. So visit votemyfredonia.com to register. I'm going to do that for email and text reminders and to stay up to date on the progress of Small Business Revolution. You can also sign up for text reminders by texting MyFredonia 31996. Once again, texting MyFredonia, all one word, to 31996. Very, very cool. Okay, this is from, excuse me, an organization called, hang on a minute, Prevention Works. They changed their name. It used to be CASIC. Okay, a free parenting program Prevention Works offers to strengthen and connect with the community. This is active parenting of teens. Oh boy, I'm glad I'm past that stage. Parents learn and laugh in a supportive environment. It's going to be held January 8th, 15, 22, 29, February 5, and 12. Takes a lot of sessions to get these teenagers under control. They're held from 12 p.m. I'm sorry, Emerald, it's true. 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be held at the Mental Health Association, 31 Water Street, door 14, suite 7, at the Gateway Center in Jamestown. If you're interested, give them a call at 366-4623 or 664-3608. 2 more? Oh boy, it's coming up, Justin. This is your favorite time of the year, I can tell. The Mayville Winter Festival is February 14th through the 16th. The holidays may be over, but one of the best events of the winter is yet to come. The President's Day Weekend Winter Festival is February 14th through the 16th at Lakeside Park in Mayville. This spectacular annual event celebrates our wonderful winter season here in Chautauqua County. It features construction of a large ice castle on the shore of Chautauqua Lake, weather permitting, at 6 p.m. February 14th, followed by the Queen of Hearts Ice Ball, under the big tent from 6:30 to 9:30. Throughout the weekend, there will be activities, games, crafts, vendors, and beer and wine tent, carriage rides, ice hockey, an ice fishing contest, a snowball contest, chili cook-off, music, the Polar Plunge. Randy Burt, wherever you are, he did that one year, and he lived. He's done with that. The Polar Plunge that benefit food pantries in Western New York, a 5K run by Chautauqua Striders, an amazing fireworks display, and a whole lot more. Volunteers excuse me, are needed for a variety of positions at this huge event. Please call Jacqueline Sasso at the Mayville Chautauqua Community Chamber of Commerce. She's the coordinator at 366-6200, or go to her email at jsasso, JSASSO, at chautauquachamber.org. Well, we'll mention this again, so it won't be the only time, but mark your calendars, February 14th through the 16th. And finally, we have the 19th annual poster contest. Let's see. This is through Prevention Works. Once again, it's the 2020 Alcohol Awareness Month poster contest, open to all Chautauqua students in grades 3 through 12. The theme is Prevention Works. Deadline to submit posters is March 13th, and contest details can be found at preventionworks.us. That's it for my announcements. We're going to take a little breather. Stay tuned. I promise you it's going to be a fun show.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
And we're back. Okay, folks, you saw this guest of mine a while back, and he was talking about a book that he had written, and we'll get to that in a minute. But one of the things that many of you know is I love music. I've been playing music almost all my life and singing since I was, as long as I can remember, 10 years old in boys' choirs and stuff. And every once in a while, you run across a situation where, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have Jeff Julian enter the scene here, and we're going to talk about what he's been doing with music, not in the typical sense that you think of music. Good morning, Jeff, and welcome back to Chautauqua Sunrise.
Thank you.
We didn't scare you off last time.
Oh, it was great fun. Thank you very much for having me back.
Well, last time we talked about was your book, and what's the name of the book again? Classroom Advice for New Teachers.
That's right.
And is anybody getting new advice?
Well, I think a few people have bought it, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the support you've given me here on your show.
Absolutely.
But, well, what I was going to talk about today is
Something
one of the
different,
aspects, right, a little bit of a different aspect that is in the book, is the idea of student engagement. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that I suggest you do that is to use a certain interest or talent that you might have as a teacher. And some teachers are great at sports and games, and others at maybe sketching or drawing or painting or arts and crafts. My hobby has been music throughout my entire life, and my way of trying to engage the students is to mix in music with my history class, which at first might not seem to go together, but it turns out there are lots of ways that the music can be used almost as a stimulus for the students, like as a document-based type of question, which many of the standardized tests are now moving to. So I can demonstrate for you if you like. One of the ways that I do this is I'll ask the class to have some paper and to be able to write down their ideas on what they hear in the song. And I show how history and the events of the time period are coming through the music of that time.
Okay.
So, for instance,
all right,
we can try like starting with the year I was born. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. So obviously that's The Times They Are Changing by Bob Dylan, and the students are writing down parts of the song that they gather, evidence from the song, of what's going on in the world at the time, which happened to be kind of a call to a warning, maybe, that times were going to get rough. And the students pick out those bits of evidence. I pair them up, share those ideas, and report back to the class, all within, a few seconds.
All right, let's put yourself on the spot. What year was that?
Well, that was the year of my birth, 1964.
1964.
Which is,
okay,
pretty much when things started going bad. But
Dylan is famous for that.
Absolutely.
And I publicly have said this. I was not a big Dylan fan because the Beatles were cool. Dylan was this folk singer with this kind of weird voice, and I have come to learn that the band was a master.
Very good songwriter. But you mentioned the Beatles. Let's take a look at that. Right. By the mid-'60s, the Beatles were introducing elements to the world, and, well, especially to America, that Americans had not been used to hearing on the radio. Like, here's one example. I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. You probably know what that song is. Yeah.
Norwegian Wood.
Right.
Key of D.
Now the thing that makes that unique, at least on American radio in the mid-'60s, is that Americans weren't used to hearing this type of Hindu sort of a scale.
Oh, the sitar. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Very, very different than what they had been used to, and probably an indication that they're looking for something different. That maybe times were starting to get challenging, and they were looking for some other influence in the world that might be better and more comforting.
Well, having been there, and I do remember it, as they say. Of course, everybody says if you say you remember the '60s, you weren't there. Well, I was there, and I remember it. I was just young, but I always recall that you had the Maharishi Guru, or whatever his name was, and all the Beatles and all those guys were going to India and studying a higher level of meditation and this and that. But the theme was love, and it was caring for each other. And that was not what most people talked about in those days. It was capitalism and industry and all that sort of thing. And it was like, the underdog. And it was corporate America versus these young upstarts, and it was a very volatile time.
Right.
You had a good year to pick to be born.
Right. Well, thank you. And can you imagine, though, those same kinds of scales, those same kinds of ideas being on the radio in America maybe just 5 years earlier, maybe just 3 years earlier? You just didn't hear that kind of thing.
No, and I think even with literature, some of the books that were controversial, people would burn them. I remember Beatles in certain southern states, I think they actually burned and broke their records because they thought they were whatever.
Well, speaking of primary sources, you're serving as one for us now from back in the 60s.
I was there.
Right. Well, and I was, my first recollection of the 60s was, I think maybe this next song right here, and the students could pick out from it some of the images of trouble happening. Here on my little transistor radio, these harmonics. I'm not sure that's coming through the mic. And it was haunting. The song is by Buffalo Springfield, and it goes. Listen to these words. There's something happening here, and what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there. Is telling me I got to beware. Think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Well, now that's great. If you're a 20-year-old, you're saying, hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you're a 3-year-old like I was and hearing it on your little transistor radio on the bedpost, that's frightening. But what it is an indication of what's happening in the world around the songwriter.
It's funny that you picked that song to be here today, and I'll tell you why, because Will and I have played that the last several years, and I always introduce it because it's from 1967, I believe.
Exactly.
And that's how I introduced the song. And when you listen to all the verses, it's like turn on CNN or turn on Fox, whatever, protesters, kids in the streets. There's, guns blazing. I mean, it's still going on. And
Absolutely.
that song is almost like a statement of American history. I mean, and I know you're teaching American history, but I mean, that one, it's relevant today, and it's weird. It's scary, actually.
The little historical time capsule, and the fact that it's still relevant today, that's why we study history.
All right, now, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, all right, so here's this guy sitting in front of a bunch of teenagers. How old are they?
Well, I have a wide range.
So
Junior high and high school, both.
So from like maybe 14 up?
Sure.
All right. So there you are. You're not, you're an older guy. They think you're cool.
Thanks.
Well, no, really. I mean, older than them.
Right. Definitely.
But I mean,
true.
do they think you're cool? I mean, how do they see this? Or what are their faces like? Like, oh my
I think
God,
one of the best
what has
pieces of
happened to me?
advice I could give to teachers is trying to be cool really doesn't work. What you have to be is yourself, and you have to try to look at things from the student's perspective. Obviously, I don't have the kind of talent where I could do this professionally, but the students, I think, appreciate the fact that you're making an effort to take something that is important for them. In this case, it's stimulus-based questions, document-based questions, and you're trying to do it in a more engaging way. And I think what I have found throughout my 33 years is they recognize that and appreciate it, and they'll give you quite a bit of leeway. Will you be cool for it? Almost surely not. And I think it's the wrong goal to have anyway for students.
So how long have you been doing this type of music
Well,
introduction to history?
It was a challenge from a grad school professor to all of us in the class to use something that we were interested in order to help make things more engaging for students. And this was the first thing I thought of. And I added a few more to it, That's familiar to you.
Julio.
Mama Pajama rolled out of bed. She went to the police station. When the papa found out, he began to shout. Started the investigation. Now that says a little bit about what was happening in America's cities. By now it's the early 70s, and crime is starting to increase, and society was changing. And then, speaking of the 70s, you have songs like Piano Man that show weariness with all of the events going on in the world. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. So you can see all of these cast of characters that
You're teasing me. It's like a jingle show.
Well, sure.
We want more.
Well,
So,
great.
but let's hold on a second.
Yeah.
So you're in history class, and the teacher next door is teaching history, because usually it's more than history. So what is the other history teacher thinking about all this?
Well, I think it's one of the things that I write in the book is about professional courtesy. We all have to be careful, because I know, to my colleagues out there, please accept my apology for years of me making noise in my room that travels pretty much throughout the school. But I write in the book about how it's very important not to keep your students late in your class so that they arrive late at someone else's class. Your lesson plan is not more important than someone else's lesson plan. So no, I try very hard to minimize the disruption to the rest of the building.
Okay, so New York State doesn't care if you sing or talk history. So
right.
have you had any results that say, this has worked out pretty well?
Sure, yeah. Our students at Maple Grove have done a tremendous job, and that is mostly because of the quality of the students and the quality of the families that we have there and the support that they've given them. And the best we can do is just to try to add to that the best we can and support the students and find engaging ways for them to learn the information and master the skills. So, and adding music into it is just one of those ways. And
All right, so
several more.
So let's pretend this is the classroom. There's Justin's over there; he's half asleep. Emerald's on her iPad, and I'm trying the best to be an entertaining host.
Let's wake them up, sure.
So, what would you expect from us as your students while you're doing this? I mean, how does it all work? So you walk in today, and we're going to be talking about what?
Well,
what's the topic?
No matter what it is, no matter what type of presentation you have, what's very important to remember is that it should be student-centered and not teacher-centered. There should be something that the students are able to grasp onto and have action occur on their part, not just sitting and listening. It isn't a concert. they have to actively be taking part in it.
So how do I actively take part?
All right, well, let me give an example of another thing that I did. I made a CD of songs. We all remember...
You've taken this to a new level, I see.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying my best.
Okay.
I think teachers always should be on the lookout for ways to better engage their students.
All right. Class, pay attention.
So we all know, yeah, there it is right there. I wrote, recorded a CD filled with songs that will help the students remember what they need to for the World History Regents exam.
Tarantella?
Yeah, I do one of these, sure. Well, let me do that one right now for you.
Please.
This is about golden ages.
The golden ages.
Right, and so I put it to rhyme and melody so that the students can remember the different golden ages throughout world history.
So where do we start? Oh, you're going to tell me. Go ahead.
Right. So here, let's try these.
Right.
Ancient Athens and Greece, they gave us democracy. Rome, they gave us some laws we still use today. China had golden ages, they were Tang and Song, where learning and art and science moved along. So hopefully they'll remember those golden ages a little better.
I got Athens, Rome, and was it China?
Greece, Rome, China, right, and right. And then I've got a few more.
Is there a test?
Oh, sure. Oh, there absolutely is. It's the Regents exam, which determines whether the student is allowed to graduate from high school.
So you
the
give a
stakes
little
are high.
synopsis of like a nugget for each of those areas to remember. Like you said, Rome was laws.
What's important here is that it isn't just rote memorization on a small scale. You have to choose carefully to make sure that the information is feeding into essential questions, things that are fundamentally important in world history that have had an impact, because those are the types of things that end up on the Regents.
I got a question now, all right, because, I taught too. So you walk into the room, and you start out with a song, or is it like, today we're going to be talking about Athens?
Okay. In this case, I'll split the class into two teams.
Okay.
And say, okay, let's see who can finish this line like this. A few more of those golden ages. In Korea, it was Chosun, and Japan, it was Heian. India had Gupta, Mesoamericans had the answer is Mayans.
I was going to get to that.
There you go. See, so now the kids who are able to think quickly and get their synapses firing and their sense of recall going a little more effectively, they're able to win that.
So do you do this like after you present the material?
Oh, absolutely. It's a review.
So this is like a review kind of capture it all.
It's a more engaging, a more fun way to do a review. And if you put yourself in the place of students, would you not want a way to remember things that is a little more interesting and fun than just reading it, studying it? Well, they'll do some of that too, a lot of that actually, but I think that everyone is always on the lookout for a better way.
So when the students are sitting there, are they taking notes like I just did, or are they singing along with you?
In this case, they already know the information, and I'll stop and say, go, and they'll finish the line.
Okay.
Look, who among us doesn't remember conjunction, junction, what's your
function?
Well, there you go. Now that came out in 1975, and we all know the answer to that. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill till they vote for me on. What comes next? Thank you.
I was going to say Capitol Hill, but
so the crew knows it too. Now again, that came out.
I wasn't watching that.
Mid 70s. I'll bet you weren't born when that came out. And somehow you knew the answer to that, because when you put
you have
their
attention. They're looking at you.
Look at that.
Class is in session.
There we go. See, that it's a more engaging thing. Got her away from the Sudoku. Fantastic. That's what happens when you try to make a lesson more engaging.
So are they clapping?
Sometimes, which again gets into a little bit of trouble with the other classrooms. So professional courtesy, it's a good idea to keep a lid on it. You want to make sure that you're presenting material in a way that garners the attention of the students and gives them a way to remember it, especially if you're choosing carefully and that these are essential concepts, not just isolated facts, things that had an impact on the way we live today and made the world change, because that is what is likely to be on the Regents exams.
So you're singing to the test.
You coined a new term. That's excellent. Singing to the test.
Singing to the test.
You know, who says we can't sing to a test? You don't want to teach to a test. But there are lots of other ways as
what
well.
What kind of
That's
feedback
just
have
one.
you gotten from the kids? Can you share anything?
I think they like it. I think they like it. They ask me to review quite often, and that's a good sign because reviewing is fun. And as it turns out, I have another way to review as well that helps me to increase their retention of the material and make a more interesting and fun way for them to do it. I'll take important, essential questions. Like, how about this?
Okay.
Our founding fathers based the U.S. Constitution on which philosophical movement? The correct answer is the Enlightenment. Now, that's a very, very important idea. The Enlightenment was a whole turning point in world history. So I'll take a question like that and have, see which team gets it correct. We can do it in several different ways. Sometimes I group them in groups of 3. Other times I'll just have an entire half of the class versus the other half. And but however you do that, when you put it in the form of a competition, it becomes fun for the students. And then, in between questions, like the one I just asked, I'll toss in something like, name this tune. I like to dream right between the sound machine. Can you name that one?
That's Steppenwolf.
That's right.
Magic Carpet, right?
There you go. You would not only get a point, you get a bonus point for getting the artist.
John Kay was the lead singer.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So he's on fire.
I'm not sure the key. Could have been E, but I don't know.
So and then right after that, let's say we're studying economics for the seniors. Who was the British economist who was the inspiration behind FDR's New Deal? He believed in using government spending to create jobs and demand for products. The answer is John Maynard Keynes. Now that's not just a small isolated fact.
John Maynard Keynes.
He's basically the father of the whole philosophy of using the government to collect taxes and provide services.
Okay.
It became Franklin Delano Roosevelt's basis for the New Deal. So that's not just one small isolated fact. That's a big idea that affected many people.
Themes,
exactly. Right. And then, after that, maybe toss in, name this tune. You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, south of the river, you stop and you hold everything. I think I'm stumping you on this one.
No, it's Dire Straits.
Oh, there you go.
And it's Money for...
Almost. That was another big hit.
Oh, no, that was their other one. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it.
The answer is Sultans of Swing.
Oh, Sultans of Swing. Okay,
right.
so
that was a tough one to get.
Sultans of Swing.
Now, so you toss in
I
that
needed
sort of
more
thing.
of the song. I knew it was Dire Straits. I knew that because I know the rhythm. All right, so how did that tie in with the Sultans of Swing?
Well, the idea here is that if you can intersperse a little bit of rock and roll, classic rock history with the material that the students need to remember for their standardized tests, then you can create a situation where they are a little more engaged and a little more likely to remember it. Now you might say that all that music in between their academics is a distraction, but it's not. It's something that galvanizes their attention.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know, growing up at the beginning of this huge music revolution, almost every song, women's rights, love, romance, freedom, civil rights, everything. I mean, it was just it's an explosion, and you can hear it in all the music.
So the history really does come through the music.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I suppose you see that through artwork. You can see it through our clothing. I mean, just a whole myriad of things, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. You can almost get a kind of a documentary on the history of a time period by listening to the songs that were popular at the time.
Well, this is fascinating because I'll tell you why. Jeff whispered in my ear in the engineering booth earlier. He says, we were talking about what you were doing. He says, history is usually a lecture. And, you know, but this would really be a lot more fun.
One of the things that I stressed in the book is that it's not that lecture in itself is inherently evil. It's just part of. Do you remember the little Marvin the toaster in those 60s and 70s commercials where they would advertise Pop-Tarts?
Yeah.
And he would say, part of a balanced, nutritious breakfast. And the idea there is that the Pop-Tarts aren't supposed to be the only thing you're eating for breakfast. Right.
Yeah.
And part of a balanced breakfast. And they'll show orange juice and bacon and eggs or cereal and something. Well, the idea there is that if you use each tool that you have sparingly. Group work, use it sparingly. Lecture, it's not that there's no place for it at all. Some students are auditory learners, and they like hearing somebody who knows what he or she is talking about being able to stand and deliver the information that they need to know. So if you use it sparingly along with a whole balanced approach, another thing I think is very important is Bloom's taxonomy. You've probably heard of that before.
Well, let's let the folks know what Bloom's is.
Sure. It's sort of a ranking of the different types of thinking and learning. On the bottom...
See how you drew my pyramid?
You did, that's right. On the bottom of it is the concept of just knowledge, and that is rote memorization without actually understanding what it is that you're learning and
2 plus 2 is 4.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what 4 means,
that's
but
rote
it's
memorization.
4.
If you start to see the bigger picture, that's then comprehension. A little bit higher than that, you start to break it down and compare and contrast, and you've got analysis, which is now moving into the higher levels of thinking. We go higher than that. If you create something new, it's synthesis. And if you can, which at the very top, if you can decide what's better and worse, good and bad, and start thinking for yourself, that's called evaluation, and it's at the very top of the hierarchy of thinking and learning. Now, that doesn't mean that if you just ask people their opinions, that's the end of it there, because there are a lot of people with a lot of opinions without a lot of knowledge to back it up.
I noticed that on Facebook lately.
Yeah. Sure. I think what's necessary is a balanced approach. You've seen me do several different things here that have to do with knowledge and comprehension bases. And just like a house, the foundation is important if you're going to get eventually up to the roof. And I think it's important, once students have information and access to information, to start saying to them in an unbiased way, let's take a controversial issue of, say, gun control, extremely hot button issue. If you say to them, here's what one side believes, here's what the other side believes, and you make sure that you're even-handed about it, and say to them, now go ahead and do research and decide what you believe based on your own values, your own sense of logic. And now you've got something that hits all levels of Bloom's taxonomy. They're not just doing memorization, but they're using what they learned to think for themselves.
Application, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that I don't pass judgment on other teachers. It's not my place to do that. But in my view, the way I've done it in all 33 years is to be absolutely sure that I take an even-handed approach so that the students don't know what it is I believe myself.
Okay, take a breath. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest today is Jeff Julian, who is talking about how he uses music to approach the area of history and economics and government and all those exciting things that we all wanted to take in school.
Sure, I know I like it.
There's not a lot of agreement in the room.
Yeah.
I liked economics. I thought it was pretty cool. I like I like history a lot.
So I like it too. It lends itself to different points of view and controversial sorts of questions.
But you know what? And it goes right with what we're saying right now. I don't care whether you're a parent at home, a teacher, or whatever your role in life is, you can make something really boring and tedious, or you can make it fun and get, right?
Have you heard of those guys in the Seattle fish market?
Yes, I've seen them.
You've seen them in person.
They're throwing the fish.
Right. I mean, can you imagine a less appealing job to have? And they took the least appealing job, which is cutting up fish parts and guts, disposing of them, and making the fillets. Really distasteful sort of a job. They made it into something that is so much fun that tourists come to watch them do the job.
Okay, it's Pike's Market. It's in Seattle. And the guy's on a platform. And he's got like a tuna or a salmon this big. And they throw the fish to each other, and they'll say, "You want this fish, lady? Yeah, how much?" and whatever it is, let's say $25, and they throw a tennis ball at you, and the tennis ball has a cut in it. You put your money in the tennis ball, and you throw the money the ball to the guy. He fixes your fish, and then you're on your way.
If you can make the cutting up of fish guts interesting and fun enough to
you
gather
can teach history.
Absolutely, you could take anything and make it fun.
I agree.
And history, fortunately, doesn't need a lot of help in being interesting because history alone is fascinating when you dig in. But sometimes you just have to lead the students to it. And then when they dig in and they see what it is, if a teacher shows enthusiasm about his or her subject, the students think, there must be something to this if this person likes it that much. And then when they dive in and see it, that's how you make them love your subject.
I'm going to ask you a question that people used to ask me when I was in the classroom. How do you know what to teach?
There is a state curriculum that's very important to follow, because there are standardized tests at every level now that will determine whether a student can graduate. So when it comes to what to teach, that is pretty well patterned for you by the state.
So you don't want to spend too much time on ancient history. You have to follow along the curriculum and the syllabus and so on.
The global regions has changed to be concentrated more on more recent history.
Okay.
So some of the ancient topics have fallen by the wayside in favor of more recent topics.
Well, I love watching those shows on the Travel Channel or History Channel. It goes back into the history and they're unearthing things. It's just absolutely fascinating.
Absolutely.
All right, what else you got for us?
Well, there was one more thing
Okay.
that I did for my students. Those who chose to take my honors level course in Supreme Court law, they were seniors.
Wait a minute, honors course?
Sure.
I didn't know there was still honors.
Oh, sure. Well, it's a level of class that has a certain difficulty.
I thought everybody was like across the board was even now, and then
No.
honors.
There are different levels of courses.
You teach Supreme Court law?
Right. Where it came out of my imagination about 20 years ago, where students form law firms and we recreate the landmark Supreme Court cases of the past.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That must get pretty heated.
When I can, I bring them to the auditorium and put them under the really intense lighting with a long table, and we even have robes for the Supreme Court members. And they have to do the research just like the original attorneys had to do and replay those cases. And very, very interesting.
How long does this take per case?
I would say at first it takes a little longer because the students are using the same resources that the attorneys are using. And that at first is a big leap. Legal language is very densely written. But our students are very sharp and they get the hang of it very quickly. So the first one might take several weeks. The next one would take a little bit less time.
All right, so this is for the long haul then.
So the students have gone through a lot of trouble to be in this course, and they could have taken a study hall or something like that. And I'm appreciative of the fact that they took my course.
So what cases do they take on?
Oh gosh, we do, of course, Brown versus Board of Education, Tinker v. Des Moines, the real hot button cases, Cruzan v. Missouri with the right to die, anything that's really hot button. Anything.
Do they get to choose? Or?
No, usually I assign them to them because I tell them that in the legal world, quite often you end up having to argue for something that you don't believe in yourself. But so I think the point is the students have taken on a lot of extra work in order to be in my class, and I appreciate that. And so for each one of them, I would, as each one was accepted to a college, I would write a personalized song of congratulations for the student.
Let's hold that song because we do have a caller.
A caller, great.
All right. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Doc.
Hi,
Good
Linda.
morning, Jeff. This is Linda Spalding. Happy New Year. Doc, I saw your picture on Facebook. Thank you for helping to deliver the gifts to the seniors in the community at Christmas time.
That was absolutely our pleasure, and we're going to do it again and again and again and again. I'll tell you, of all the things I've done in a long time, that was probably one of the most heartwarming experiences, delivering the senior Santa bags to local.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how much stuff was in there. Those bags were heavy.
Yeah, they get a lot of nice goodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to announce that we have services with the Senior Employment Program, Employment Services and Training, and also other services with the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging. The number in Mayville, which is on the screen, 753-4471, or on our Facebook page, which you helped us develop.
I did.
Set up, yes.
Linda, any particular positions you're looking to fill?
Well, we're always, there's a demand occupation for home care aides. There's a real demand for that in the county, and if you're interested in it and you can qualify, with the characteristics required. It's almost a certain placement.
Is there any training available if somebody's interested in going into that area?
Well, if they want to go into it, the entity that hires usually does the training themselves or sends them on. It depends which service provider you go to.
Okay.
Like Chautauqua Opportunities, Venture Forth, and so on.
But if they're interested, they can give you a call nonetheless, right?
Pardon?
I said if they're interested, they could give you a call nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, they should always give me a call, and I'll refer them, and maybe I can put them on the senior employment program for a short time, like an OJT, and on-the-job training.
Oh, awesome. All right, very good. All right, well, thanks for calling, as always.
Thank you, and have a wonderful New Year's and a wonderful week. And I'm really enjoying the show about, which Jeff is talking about.
Thank you.
Having the students involved in music. Music is a wonderful, wonderful thing to get into. It lifts the spirit and soul.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so you were saying that they're in Supreme Court, you assigned them a case, and you wrote them a song.
Well, as a reward for all the extra work that they did just by choosing to be in the class.
I mean, writing a song is not like a simple matter either.
No, and I record it for each student, personalized.
How many songs are we talking here?
Just one for each student.
Oh, well,
it's mostly the same basic song, but it's sung with lyrics that pertain to the student. Well, no, like this. This is the first one I did. Okay. Congratulations, Sean. You're going to Florida State. We wish you all the best.
Waka, waka, waka.
Nice work, Sean. We all know you'll be great. Don't forget us when you're a success. And it goes on from there.
Sounds like something from Sesame Street.
No, thanks.
But I mean, it's got a nice beat to it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's just a token, and I think that when you show students that you appreciate their efforts, I think it goes a long way toward building the kind of bond with them I think is the essence of the teaching process.
Okay, you and I made a deal that we were going to talk about a little story that we didn't get to last time, and it's the perfect segue right now about teachers caring. So,
I say this not to brag about the importance of teachers, but for the people in the profession to understand the importance that we have and to look at it with humility. There was a former student of mine who attempted to take her own life a couple of years after I had her as a ninth grader. I was scheduled to have her again in the fall as a senior. I wasn't sure what to do. Should I send a gift? Should I send a note? Should I just ignore it? Would I make things worse by, having any contact at all? And I thought, well, I don't know what to do, so I'll just try to do what I think is the decent thing. So I sent her a little stuffed animal and a note that said, I'm really excited for you to come back to school. You'll be in my class in the fall. Well, a few weeks later, her mom encountered me in town and said, you have no idea what you did. By saying that you were excited to see her, we were afraid that she was going to make another attempt on her life. She had shown no interest in going back to school. And the idea that someone there was going to be excited to see her made her happy about going back to school again.
Wow.
And she said, thank you for saving my daughter's life. And it was my dad, actually, who had been walking through town with me, and he said to me later, in 40 years at my job, nobody ever said that to me. So I say that as teachers, not to brag about the kinds of an effect we can have on students, but instead to just be aware of the power we have to do good things for students just by caring about them and being there for them.
Awesome. Jeff, we have like a half a minute left.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell people about your book one more time and anything else you want to say?
I appreciate it. It's called Classroom Advice for New Teachers. I wanted to help our new people to the profession. You can find it at jeffjulianauthor.gq. It's on Amazon and all of your favorite booksellers. But if you're interested in teaching, if you are a teacher, if you know a teacher, if you would just like to see the background of what's going on in the education world, please give it a try.
All right. Folks, you've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest and fellow musician has been Jeff Julian, and you can see him out and about with his band,
The Untouchables, right.
And that's a wrap for today. So thanks, Jeff, for joining us once again. It's
been
a lot of pleasure.
Fun. Thank you.
Boy, I'd like to be in your classroom if I was in school all over again.
Thank you.
So take care, everybody. We're going to do this again next Saturday right here at Access Chautauqua, channel 1301, streaming live. We're on radio. We're everywhere. So take care and stay out of the mud if you can. It's everywhere. All right. Bye now. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.